Pass on file. File item 116. Senator Galgiani. Senator Nielsen, for what purpose, sir?
I can go back to 113 if it's in order, Madam.
Well, why don't we take that as soon as we take Senator Galgiani? Do you need a minute to get going, or you're all set? Let's go to Senator Galgiani. We'll go back, Senator Nielsen. We are on file item 116, colleagues. File item 116. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 751 by Assemblymember Cooper, enacting the pest control and making appropriation therefore.
Senator Galgiani.
Thank you, Madam President and members. AB 751 would extend the sunset date for the California Department of Food and Ag's Vertebrate Pest Control Research Program to January 1st, 2026. The program focuses on finding safer alternative methods to control pests. Each year, rodents cause millions of dollars in damages to California's agriculture, infrastructure, and public health. Farmers use rodenticide baits that are sold by county ag commissioners' offices in order to control rodents and pests. The program is funded through the sale of rodenticide baits. If funding is not extended, the program will not have the funds to maintain the registration of these products. This bill has received no opposition and has bipartisan support. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much. Debate or discussion on this file item? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 40, no 0. The measure passes. Senator Nielsen, were you wanting to speak on, present file item 113? File item 113, Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Concurrent Resolution 46 by Assemblymember Calderon, relative to the Arts Council.
Senator Nielsen.
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, this is an opportunity to speak up for art in California. And the face of art in this state is the California Arts Council. I believe it started back in Jerry Brown 1 years, and it's had a long and storied existence in the state of California. But during the hard times of the budget, the Arts Council came on hard times too. Their whole budget for many years was only $1 million in this state, which is so dependent on art and has contributed so much to art. But it's made a comeback. As our budget improved, we've been able to improve, and the governor actually in the budget this year established an ongoing base funding of $5 million. Now, the council creatively fought for other sources, such as the license plate fund, and they derived some, and donations in the checkoff on your income tax. So they've done their own part, but they have suffered and have not been able to do as much as they could do. Now, Senator Leno and I, 2 years ago in the Budget Committee, got into a bidding war, deciding who would get the higher amount. And for a brief moment, I had outbid Senator Leno. Now, that's not often done, but it was showing that how strongly he and I both feel about the arts in California. And I know many of you share that same sympathy. This is just acknowledging the importance of arts of California as represented by the Arts Council and all the good work they do. And with their little $5 million, they're doing a lot more. I'll specifically tell you some of what. They are trying to work to be of assistance to criminal offenders, bringing in art as a therapeutic venue for them, bringing more arts to our children. So the Arts Council is doing us a good job, and we appreciate them. I know you do too. I urge an aye vote.
Any debate or discussion? Senator Allen.
I want to add my voice in support for this resolution as chair of the Joint Committee on the Arts. And as the son of a working artist, this is something that's near and dear to my heart. I've had the opportunity now to work quite a bit with the leadership of the Arts Council. I've seen the work that they've done. We actually just honored the Poet Laureate, who was just declared the National Poet Laureate. And it turns out he was given a grant as a young poet, as a young man in the Central Valley, from the Arts Council many, many years ago. There are so many of these wonderful young artists that are being supported, artists from all different ages and backgrounds. We know that there's such a vibrant, creative economy that we have here in California that helps to drive our state forward. The arts are such a critical part of that. It's an important part of what makes California so great, and I'm proud to stand in support of ACR 46.
Thank you, Senator Allen. Any further debate or discussion? Senator Leno?
Thank you, Madam President. I do want to join my Vice Chair of the Budget Committee in support of this resolution. Before the fall of the dot-com boom, before the bust, year 2000, we were spending around 38 million general fund dollars on the California Arts Council. That was about $1 per capita. After the bust, we cut them back to $1 million, and at 3 cents per capita, we ranked 50th among states in funding for arts education. Keep in mind, the council does spend its money in grants to community-based nonprofit organizations and schools that provide art and music, dance education programs. We know from all studies that students who study art and math test better not only in math and reading, but also in science. They have higher rates of self-esteem, higher rates of graduation, lower rates of dropping out, and we, the entertainment capital of the world, rank 50th among states. We're probably doing a little bit better now that we're up to about $5 million, but I don't often support resolutions that urge us to do something that we could do without the urging, but nonetheless, this is an important issue, and I feel urged to do it. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Leno. Any further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Nielsen, would you like to close? Or
Urge an aye vote.
very good. Is there any objection, now that debate and discussion have concluded, to substituting a unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 40, no 0. The resolution is adopted. Moving on to file item 116, I believe we've taken care of. File item 117, pass on file. File item 118, Senator Block. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 1016 by Assemblymember Santiago, an act relating to public post-secondary education.
Senator Block.
Thank you, Madam President. AB 1016 requires reporting from community colleges and the CSU to track implementation of the Student Transfer Achievement Reform Act. This act requires community colleges to develop 2-year transfer degrees that guarantee admission to the CSU to a CSU bachelor degree program that can be completed with just an additional 2 years. The bill is supported by the California Chamber of Commerce, the California Community College Chancellor's Office, and the Campaign for College Opportunity. It's received bipartisan support and has no opposition. Ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion on this item? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call? Seeing none, ayes 40, no 0. The measure passes. File item 119, Senator Mendoza. Do you wish to proceed on that item? Pass on file. File item 123 will pass temporarily. Is there anyone who has any of those measures between those two numbers? All right. Please note, if the Assembly is listening, we do not have floor managers for those, and thus they're not being called. We have file item 125, Senator Wieckowski. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 1141 by Assemblymember Chow, an act relating to civil actions.
Senator Wieckowski.
Madam President, AB 1141 reenacts and makes permanent summary adjudication statutes that inadvertently sunsetted. Under current law, when a plaintiff rejects a 998 settlement offer and fails to receive a better judgment at trial, she must pay both the defendant's pre- and post-expert fees. However, if the defendant rejects the plaintiff's offer and fails to do better at trial, they only have to seek the post-offer expert fees. This will create some equity and treat both plaintiffs and defendants equally. I urge and I vote.
Thank you, Senator Wieckowski. Debate or discussion on this item? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Bates. Aye. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Block. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Aye. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Aye. Galgiani. Aye. Glazer. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Weso. Aye. Huff. Aye. Jackson. Aye. Lada. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. Aye. Morrell. I. Wynn. I. Nilsson. I. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner. I. Stone. I. Vidak. I. Wachowski. I. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Ayes 40, no 0. The measure passes. Moving along to file item 126, Senator Bates. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 1374 by Assemblymember Levine, an act relating to psychologists.
Senator Bates.
Thank you, Madam President. AB 1374 simplifies the process for the Board of Psychology to verify the experience of applicants for a psychology license. Under current law, an applicant is responsible for the Board of Psychology receiving proof of experience. However, applicants cannot themselves submit that proof. It must be submitted separately by a supervisor. AB 1374 will allow applicants to submit their proof of experience with their license application. A supervisor will still be required to sign off on the proof of experience. This bill was previously on consent but needed to be amended to address chaptering out conflicts. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion on this item. Is there debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 40, no 0. The measure passes. File item 127, Senator Leno. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 768 by Assemblymember Thurman, an act relating to tobacco.
Senator Leno.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, Assemblyman Thurman's AB 768 will prohibit the use of smokeless tobacco on our professional baseball stadiums. We know from research and from common sense that professional baseball players and their behavior influence our youth significantly. In fact, over 535,000 of our youth aged 12 to 17 each year use smokeless tobacco for the very first time. We've lost a number of baseball greats in recent years due to their chewing tobacco habits, cancer of the esophagus, cancer of the throat. We can do better. This bill will merely close a loophole in the laws regulating tobacco use in professional baseball parks while protecting the youth of California. I ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion on this item. Debate or discussion. Senator Morlock.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a question for the author.
Senator Leno, will you take a question? Without objection.
Is it true that this is already being done voluntarily by all of our sports fields and stadiums?
Senator, I don't know that for a fact, but I do know that there is no opposition from Major League Baseball Players Association or the owners.
Yeah, I think they've already voluntarily done this on their own. I just think that should be stated in the record. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Any further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Leno, would you like to close?
Let's put a good practice into law. I ask for your aye vote.
All debate having ceased, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Anderson. Bates. Anderson, no. Bates. No. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. No. Block. Aye. Canella. No. De Leon. Aye. Fuller. No. Gaines. No. Galgiani. Aye. Glazer. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Hill. Aye. Wisso. Aye. Huff. No. Jackson. Aye. Lada. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leyva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. No. Morrell. No. Wynn. No. Nilsson. No. Pan. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Roth. Aye. Runner. No. Stone. No. Vidak. No. Wachowski. Aye. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Allen. Hertzberg.
Ayes 24, noes 14. The measure passes. File item 128. Senator Leyva, do you wish to take up file item 128? Pass on file. File item 135. File item 135. Senator Wieckowski, do you wish to take this up? File item 135. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 856 by Assemblymember Calderon, an act relating to privacy.
Senator Wieckowski.
Madam Speaker, members, this bill will clarify that flying a drone over private property by the paparazzi constitutes a trespassing. At a joint legislative oversight hearing on drones last August, it was learned that the paparazzi have used drones for years to capture pictures of public persons in their most private of activities. Now, last year, AB 2306 expanded the definition of constructive evasion of privacy to include the use of a drone. This bill clarifies and creates parity in the law by adding the physical invasion of privacy. This bill will make paparazzi accountable for the breach of private property boundaries that they engage in. I urge and I vote.
Thank you, Senator Wieckowski. Debate or discussion on this item? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 40, no 0, the measure passes. File item 143, and colleagues, we're skipping over because there have been no floor managers who've indicated that they will be taking up these bills. If you do, in fact, if you are going to be floor managing for an assembly bill and we skip over it, it's for that reason. If you'd like to present it, please feel free to notify me and we will take it up. Other than that, we're at file item 143 by Senator Leyva. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 422 by Assemblymember McCarthy, an act relating to transit.
Senator Leyva.
Thank you, Madam President and members. I am pleased to present AB 422, which will give the Sacramento Regional Transit District, SAC-RT, short-term borrowing authority for spending purposes. SAC-RT provides transportation throughout the Sacramento region for countless numbers of men, women, and children to travel to various destinations on a daily basis. Traditionally, SAC-RT has relied on short-term borrowing under the Temporary Revenue Anticipation Note, TRAIN, statute. However, the statute is an imperfect tool for issuing these types of revolving lines of credit. Because of how the federal government distributes grants and the time in which RT has to repay the credit note, AB 422 seeks to fix this issue by changing the note maturity date from 12 months to 60 months, which would allow Sacramento RT the flexibility to repay the notes over time, as long as the notes are paid in full by the maturity date. SAC-RT will be able to borrow no more than the maximum amount of money they expect to receive in a single fiscal year. They would also pledge to set aside and apply all amounts received through federal operating grants to the repayment of any outstanding debts. AB 422 passed the Assembly with bipartisan support and the Senate Housing and Transportation Committee with a unanimous vote. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Leyva. Debate or discussion on this item? Senator Morlock.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a question for the author.
No.
Would you?
Thank you.
I'm just kidding. Go right ahead.
Please, Senator
Changing a loan from 12 months to 60 months, is that up to 60 months, or are we converting a one-year loan to a 5-year loan?
I am not positive, but I believe we're converting a one-year loan to a 60-year loan, so they have a longer time to repay.
Okay, thank you.
60-month, thank you.
Thank you. Any further debate or discussion? Senator Leyva, would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for an aye vote.
All debate having ceased, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen? Anderson? No. Bates? Aye. Bell? Aye. Berryhill? Aye. Block? Aye. Canella? Aye. De Leon? Aye. Fuller? Aye. Gaines? Aye. Galgiani? Aye. Glazer? Aye. Hall? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Hertzberg? Aye. Hill? Aye. Weso? Aye. Huff? Aye. Jackson?
Aye.
Aye. Lara? Aye. Leno? Aye. Leyva? Aye. Liu? Aye. McGuire? Aye. Mendoza? Aye. Mitchell? Aye. Monning? Aye. Morlock? No. Morrell? No. Wynn? Aye. Nilsson? Pan? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Roth? Aye. Runner? Aye. Stone. No. Vidak. Aye. Wachowski. Aye. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Allen. Aye. Nielsen. No.
Ayes 35, noes 5. That measure passes. File item 144. File item 144. Senator Gaines for Assemblymember Gaines on their anniversary. Just saying. Senator Gaines, Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 738 by Assemblymember Beth Gaines, an act relating to public transit.
Senator Gaines.
Happy wife, happy life. 30 years. Okay, thank you, Madam President. AB 738 would help provide a more updated and streamlined way for cities and counties to participate in regional transit services and amenities. AB 738 also creates an updated process for annexation and attachment of territory in RT. The bill will allow entities to negotiate their relationships to regional transit before annexing. The bill also creates a mechanism for member cities to leave the district, which previously had not existed in law. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Gaines. Debate or discussion, Senator De Leon.
Thank you much, Madam President. I just question, I don't know if to the President or the presiding officer or to the member, I don't know if this qualifies for legislative nepotism, but it's a little incestuous, also too. I just wanted to highlight that, but nonetheless, I thank the member for carrying this measure nonetheless. It's their anniversary, I guess, I understand.
It is indeed. I think we'll ask the voters what they think. Any further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none. This is file item 144. And is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call on this measure? Seeing and hearing none. Ayes 40, noes 0. The measure passes. Happy anniversary. File item 145. Senator Pan. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 906 by Assemblymember Cooper, an act relating to transit.
Senator Pan.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, AB 906 is a district bill by Assemblymember Cooper, sponsored and supported by the City of Elk Grove. The bill updates the City of Elk Grove's proportionate share payment to Sacramento Regional Transit to reflect changes since Elk Grove incorporated as a city. Currently, Elk Grove's proportionate share payment is based on an outdated state law and does not take into account the growth of Elk Grove or the city's operation of their transportation system, E-Tran. AB 906 ensures that Elk Grove's proportionate share is negotiated with Sacramento Regional Transit in the same manner as other participating entities. I respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Debate or discussion on this item? Is there any debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Bates. Aye. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Block. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Aye. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Galgioni. Aye. Glazer. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Hueso. Aye. Huff. Aye. Jackson. Aye. Lara. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leyva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. Morrell. Aye. Wynn. Aye. Nielsen. Aye. Pan. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Roth. Aye. Runner. Stone. Aye. Vidak. Aye. Wachowski. Aye. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Berryhill. Gaines. Morlock. Aye. Runner. Aye.
Ayes 38, no 0. The measure passes. File item 146, Senator Hancock. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 487 by Assemblymember Gonzalez, an act relating to parole.
Senator Hancock.
Thank you, Madam President and Senators. I'm pleased to present AB 487 by Assemblywoman Gonzalez. In 2008, California voters passed Marsy's Law, amending the state constitution to protect and expand the rights of victims of crime. Some of these include notification of court proceedings and all post-conviction release decisions. Current law only requires that the Board of Parole hearings notify the victims or next of kin who request notification, but omits the district attorneys. AB 487 adds notification requirements for district attorneys. The bills received unanimous bipartisan support thus far. I would ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Hancock. Debate or discussion? Senator Nielsen.
There's a longer story to this that I'll bore you with a little bit. Several years ago, as chairman of the Board of Prison Terms, the longest denial of suitability was 5 years. And the 5-year denial of consideration of suitability, a life inmate with possibility of parole had to have killed 3 people. I didn't think that was right. So we changed it. Anybody could get 5-year denial. That was challenged. Taken all the way to the United States Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said 5 years denial is fine. Come forward, then the people of California passed Marsy's Law, which allowed the board then to use up to 15 years. Now, I put a provision in that 5-year bill way back when to kind of litigation-proof, saying that at 3 years, the deputy commissioner of the board could review the file, and if the inmate had made good progress, that they could not be found suitable, they could be allowed additional hearing a little sooner than the 5th year. Now, since Marsy's Law, I argue this particular provision has been corrupted to give these inmates a lot earlier parole suitability consideration than they deserve, or that was intended. And I can say about intent because I was of the intent at the time. Now, I support the bill, but I'll remind you that always district attorneys have been able to be representative of the people in parole suitability hearings. Some counties can't afford to do it, but many do. And victims have always been able to speak at the hearings, and victims next of kin. This bill doesn't hamper that. That's why it's worthy of support. But sadly, some interests have been trying to shut the mouths of the victims and preclude them from having the participation that they long and historically enjoyed. I bring that to your attention. Though this is a good bill, there have been some very bad things happening behind the scenes that do not ensure the one thing of all things that victims deserve, the one thing of all things society can give them, and that's justice.
Thank you, Senator Nielsen. Any further debate or discussion on this item? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Hancock, would you like to close?
Ask for your aye vote.
All right, all debate having ceased, is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 40, no 0. The measure passes. File item 147, is there a floor manager? File item 148, Senator Bell. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Concurrent Resolution 77 by Assemblymember Mark Stone relative to California Early Intervention Services Act.
Senator Bell.
Pediatricians recommend that kids of all age under age of 3 get routine developmental and behavioral screenings as part of child health care visits. But in California, only 1 in 3 children actually get these screenings. They are needed to identify possible developmental disabilities early. And this resolution is resolved that the legislature maintain that every child deserves a developmental screening, and that California will continue to support programs and resources that will help guide families through the early identification and intervention system. This is a very important measure in light of the fact that we're negotiating things like the Medi-Cal waiver with the federal government. And we have a law that allows that screenings are funded by the federal government. So I urge an aye vote on this resolution. All children should have these screenings, and it's the right thing to do for the kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Bell. Debate or discussion on this item? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 40, no 0. The resolution is adopted. File item 149. Senator Mitchell, do you wish to bring up file item? All right, Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Concurrent Resolution 85 by Assemblymember Gordon relative to medically fragile foster care children and adoptive placement children.
File item 149. Senator Mitchell, please proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam President. This is a critical issue that none of us can afford to pass on. ACR 85 would declare the month of November 2015 as the month to raise awareness about the issue of medically fragile foster care children and adoptive placement children. California has currently over 60,000 children in the foster care system. A certain subset of the foster care population are medically fragile children who have physical or intellectual disabilities or both that require an increased level of support, training of their foster care providers, and care. It is especially difficult to place medically fragile kids in the foster care system due to the increased level of care that they need. Every child deserves the opportunity to achieve his or her fullest potential in a safe, stable, and loving environment. We need to raise awareness of the actions that every Californian can take to make a positive difference in the lives of these children. I respectfully request your aye vote on ACR 85.
Debate or discussion on this item? Any debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 40, no 0. The resolution is adopted. File item 151. File item 151 by Assemblymember Atkins. Do we have a floor manager for file item 151? Seeing none. Senator Bell, are you going to take up file item 151?